past 9 o'clock, the 26th day of July, 2025. Welcome aboard the big city on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music, great friends. My name is Wesige Banyaji on Plot 12 Mutile, and you can catch the show online and on air on www.cruisefm.com/stream and on Cruise TV for TikTok and YouTube. That's on Cruise TV. Type in Cruise TV. You'll be able to see everything that is happening here. That's courtesy of Creative Digital Media. And the gentleman behind that is Bright. And we are on air, so you can be able to contribute on the show on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Our topic of discussion is already on our social media handles, 912 Cruise FM on X and 91.2 Cruise FM on Facebook. Drop us a line, I'll be able to read some of your messages. Now, Ugandan opposition leader Dr. Kizza Besigye and Obed Lutale sued the Kenyan government, challenging the arrest and extradition from Kenya to Uganda last November. I doubt they will be able to succeed there, because does it matter anyway whether I get you if there is an offense you committed in Uganda and you ran away? And it's an offense that is worth being brought back here. Is it necessary whether they got you in due process or not? Moses will be able to help us understand that much better. Odonga Oto and Gilbert Olanya, the Clark South Member of Parliament in Amuru District, are under investigations for destroying a fence at a cattle farm in Pader district. This cattle farm belongs to a Mulalo, and they said this Mulalo man had out of an access road there. Then the Uganda People's Congress will hold today its National Delegates Conference virtually, because the police does not have the numbers to provide enough security for the physical gathering. How is that possible that police is so stretched that they can't provide security for UPC to hold a National Delegates Conference? It's something that we can all ponder. Now, the NRM held primaries for local governments. And here in Mbara, Robert Mugabe Kachebezi was declared winner for the NRM flag bearer in the mayoral race, beating the closest rival, Mr. Seth Muradi. This was... all people in Mbara were looking out for this particular race. They thought Kachebezi wouldn't make it back, but he triumphed and made it there. Then the very formidable chairperson of Kabade district, Mr. Nelson Nshangabashija, was beaten by a former deputy RDC, Dennis Nzirwe, in that particular race. Now, the Alliance for National Transformation kicked off the nomination process for the 2026 general elections, with Major General Mugisha Muntu becoming the first presidential aspirant to be screened and confirmed by the party's electoral commission. Now, the country is mourning the passing of the retired Supreme Court Justice, Professor George Wilson Kanyihamba, who passed away in Nakasero Hospital at 86. He served at the Supreme Court for a couple of years. Is definitely most known for the 2006 judgment where he dissented on the presidential petition there, almost choosing to say that the election was... should have been annulled for all the irregularities. Now, the president wrote a statement on his social media handle on the NRM primaries and what needs to be done. The NRM also constituted a tribunal headed by Mr. John Musime to investigate electoral disputes. We are going to continue to talk about the NRM primaries. To help me discuss this and much more is Counsel Moses Nwagaba in Twiga, who is a lawyer and advocate of the High Court. He wants to be a member of Parliament in Mbara City North. And my good friend Bruce Owakunda, who is a member of the National Resistance Movement. He comes all the way from Kazo, and I'm very sure he's happy that Mole Kamukama won the flag there for the NRM. Yes, so good morning, Moses, and welcome to the big set.
I was also supporting Mole Kamukama. From a distance.
Yes.
I was also supporting Ruth Rujochi from a distance. That one I even recorded a video.
Mushabe here in Chiruhura.
Yeah.
But her victory is being contested. We had a statement from Honorable Ruendu Uru. what is yes? It's she's called Renduru. Yes, disputing those results.
Yeah, but my support came before the dispute. So why? Because I think she would make a better member of parliament in terms of the deliberation. Me, I first look at quality, then other things for friendship. What? Not because I hate anybody or I don't like so and so. No, but because I think this is a better person. I look at the candidates and choose who is better. They don't have to be my friends. Like Ruth, I have never greeted her. We have never met physically, but I campaigned for her.
Okay.
That is me.
George,
Now,
George Wilson Kanyihamba passed away.
Yeah, sure. We lost an icon. A truth teller. Someone who will tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. And there are not many in Uganda. So George Kanyihamba was an icon, was someone revered, someone to learn from, a good example.
Not so many judges retire and go back to serve on the bar. We saw George Wilson Kanyihamba after he left the Supreme Court going to practice as a lawyer.
If you have a reputation, you will go back. Of course, it's about choice also. It's about choice. But if you have good reputation, you'll go back. We have Zehurichize here. You'll go back and serve and you'll get clients. But if people think you were doing what Kadaga, the Right Honorable Kadaga Rebecca, talked about sometime back in Parliament. You remember a reference of judge. If people think you are that character, even if you retire and you are the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of Uganda, the head of the Supreme Court, they will not come to you. Even grasshopper collectors will not come to you because they think you are not up to the what? To the task. So I greet you all.
Okay.
I greet you all members of this panel and the people, the listeners out there who love Cruise FM.
Okay.
Yesterday I was doing my research and I found that Cruise is one of the most listened to radios in Mbarara City. I don't know in other areas, but in Mbarara City.
Thank you. Maybe the voters in Mbarara City North are wondering, they could have seen that video of you making a declaration. Maybe you confirm to them, are you on the ballot come 2026?
Yes, as an independent. Mbarara City North.
What are you offering the people of Mbarara City North?
A voice in the parliament. Because now the microphone meant for Mbarara City North in the parliament is rusty. It has rodents there because it's not been used for a long time.
Okay.
So I want to
clean
off the rust and then use it. Because the reason you see, our people, they don't understand these things. The reason they see members of parliament fumbling with raising electric poles, it is because they went to parliament and failed to deliberate.
We had our good friend who was a big seater here, Mujuni Chamadidi, very articulate, very smart. The people of Rwampara said no.
He abandoned the team that took him to parliament. Those are the mistakes we make. You go to parliament, then you abandon those who took you there, including us. Do you know that it was me who taught Chamadid how to hold the mouse on a computer? He can't deny that. When he became member of parliament, his office was at Bowman House. Okay?
Yes.
It was me who taught him how to hold the mouse of a computer and press see a cursor, look at the cursor on the screen.
When he went to parliament, did he forget you?
After learning the computer, he abandoned me. And I'm one of the people who campaigned him. So I want to say this also because of course he knows that I wish him well now because he's a Tato and we talk. But those are facts. Even I went to East African Parliament. You don't know how I became RDC. Me, I went to Parliament. I contested for East African Legislative Assembly. You would first go through this panel created by the Speaker. It was headed by Sanjay Tana, the Honorable then. I passed through the primaries, what you would call the primaries. I went to Parliament. They would give you 7 minutes to speak. Okay? I used my 7 minutes. After the 7th minute, of course, you would not sit in parliament. You can't sit in parliament when you're not a member of parliament or you are not an invited guest by the speaker. So we would go to VIP room. I was in the VIP room together with the Honorable Chidega and Nusrat Peru. They were telling me what you said in the parliament in the 7 minutes. If you said it in the NRM caucus, you were going to win. You would be one of us. You made a mistake. You should have come to the NRM caucus.
It's the NRM caucus.
You get the idea? While you're there, the right honorable Mama Mbabazi comes together with the vice president, then Sekandi. And that's how I became RDC. I became RDC in 7 minutes in the parliament. That's why you see, when I tell these guys that I'm going to run, I'm going to come with the Hansard, you people who, all those people who have been in the parliament. I want this one, I want you to know, I'm not going to hide. I am going to come with the Hansard.
You're going with the Hansard.
With the Hansard, people who don't know it, is a book.
The record of
where all things said in the parliament are written. I will come with the Hansard. If you know you have ever been to parliament, we will look at what you said in the parliament. Page 1 up to page 900. If you are not there, please give us a break.
Thank you. That's Moses Nwagaba. Good morning, Bruce Wakunda, and welcome to the big set.
Good morning, Vanyozi. I'm only imagining a parliament of Lilian Oteraho and Moses. You know, these belong to the rare breed of political activists. So I wish him well. Well, I'm quite happy to be back on the big seat after a long while, but I'm always listening. And I must commend your unflinching commitment to come here every Saturday and inform to transform the society. You know, regardless of the emergence of new media and the sensation that social media has become, radio broadcasting remains the most popular and the most important source of information for the ordinary person. So I'm happy to be back.
How was Kazo? And give us a brief of how the primaries went in Kazo.
I was camped for in Kazo for close to 3 weeks to election. And I can confirm that generally we had a free and fair election, spare for some isolated cases where some self-seekers, like the president called them, tried to use security forces to intimidate people. And that speaks to the low voter turnout of that day. But we had a peaceful and free and fair election. And
who is this person that you wished the people of Kazo to send to parliament? Who is the Kamukama that you're selling so hot? Do you think she's the right person to represent the people?
Good enough, Mora is not a non-starter. She has a track record. She has tested and trusted experience. She has had several tours of duty. She has worked with the Electoral Commission for close to 14 years. And headed the office of the national chairman in Chambogo, worked as a PPS to the president, and also as a
Minister of State for Economic Monitoring.
Yeah. So the record speaks for itself.
Okay.
And she won all parishes and all sub-counties. Her opponent won 7 cells out of 354 something cells. So you can see that she was a popular candidate. She won with a big margin, 18,000 votes.
We congratulate her. Good morning, my friend Muhanguzi Honorato, and welcome to the big set.
Thank you, Banyaji. Good morning, Banyaji. Good morning, my fellow panelists. Good morning, listeners. My name is Muhanguzi Honorato. I come from Isinjiro, specifically Bukanga, the remaining Bukanga Yasigiro. Greetings from Bukanga. And I'm happy to be part of this show today.
I don't know whether you've been on ground. Isinjiro has been in the news, not for very good reasons. There were murders, you're torching vehicles, you literally didn't have a woman member of parliament flag bearer for over 48 hours. What happened in Isinjiro?
That is not news to Bukanga and Isinjiro at large, because for us, we have experience of violence. We are people who lie on the board of Tanzania, and we have masterminders of violence. Of course, in due course, we shall talk about why and how, pros and cons of violence, the starters of violence, the perpetuators of illegalities, who are even basically from the first family. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
So, in Bukanga and Isinjiro, violence is not news as we speak. Actually, media did not pick in pick interest in going to Isinjiro because they were stopped. If they had gone deep to investigate the real violence, you would see Isinjiro in a different shape.
Okay. Welcome, Council Honorata Mahangus. Yes, good morning, Sifa Safi, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Banyaji. Thank you so much for having me. Good morning, my fellow panelists, specifically Council Moses. It's been quite a while. And good morning, our listeners. Banyaji, this being my first time appearing here since I lost my sister, allow me to take
Oh, sorry about that.
the same opportunity to thank all those who are with us during such a difficult moment. Thank you so much. And those who continue to condole with us. In the same vein, I want to condole with those who have lost their friends and those who are nursing injuries from the previous elections, from the elections held on, that was, I think, on Thursday. There are some boys, young men from, I think it is Chikona Market. The news is everywhere. People have read about it. I'm told they jumped off or they fell off a lorry or a truck or something like that. That is very sad. And this is really, someone was talking about the same one they were saying, this is a precursor of what is going to happen, I think, during the general elections. But we pray that we don't lose lives again, because if we can lose some lives in the primary elections for NRM, then we don't know what is going to happen. But let's wait and see, this being the topic of discussion.
Okay.
We shall put so much into this.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we're stopping for a break. When we come back, we shall be right into a topic of discussion. Good morning.
It's tough, it's bold, it's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
All right, we are back. It's 26 minutes past 9 o'clock on Western Ughanda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Good music, good friends. My name is Wesige Banyaji. With me in studio is Sifa Safi, Council Honorata Mohanguzi. I have Bruce Oakunda, and I have Council Moses Nwagaba Ntuiga. Our topic of discussion this morning is definitely on the aftermath of the NRM primaries. President Museveni sounded a stern warning to what he described as self-seekers, accusing them of polluting the recently concluded National Resistance Movement Party primaries. He sent a stronger warning to all those and describing the NRM's legacy was one built on blood and sacrifice of heroes and martyrs of NRA and Afro-NASA. Now we are going to be talking about the quality of primaries that we've had this cycle. And I want to understand where all of you watched all these primaries and what you think should have done better. Let me start with the Council Moses Nwagaba. We didn't see, at first I really thought that these were the best primaries that we had. Unfortunately, the president thinks different. And going by the petitions that we now have, did Tango Doi do a good job? Moses?
You know, NRM has now developed a culture. Because you see, it has been here for close to 40 years. So there is now a tradition. 40 years, you can generate a tradition. So noticeable that even the courts can take judicial notice. Yes.
Yes.
So, there is now a tradition in the national resistance movement that there are leaders who emerge from the people, and then there are leaders who emerge from the patrons. So, if the president, his concern is about leaders who emerge from the people, the competition and the indiscipline within that competition, he's spot on, he's very right. Unfortunately, he is not looking at leaders who emerge from the patrons around him, some of them his relatives. He's not looking at them. I want to give you an example. When the daughter of Sam Kutesa, Shasi Mushere, was withdrawing from the Maogora election, she wrote a letter to His Excellency the President in his capacity as the chairman of the National Resistance Movement. She gave a reason why she was withdrawing. And she stated that she's withdrawing, or she was withdrawing, because she did not want to put the lives of her constituents in harm's way, that they were likely to be killed or harmed again. That was in reference to who? To the president's younger brother, Sodo.
But
So if you have a political party or a political organization where the law does not apply uniformly, because one of the principles of law is that it should apply uniformly, it should not be an offense for me to steal, but it is not an offense for you to steal. That's not law. Law should apply uniformly. The laws of the national resistance movement, the electoral laws, and in fact, outside even election matters, the national elections have started applying differently to different people. That's where the problem is. Now, until a few days ago, I was in full blast blame against the president. I was blaming the president for indiscipline that comes from people who are closer to him, either by power or by blood or both. But a few days ago, I noticed something very peculiar. I met a person who was a contestant in the last parliamentary elections. The person told me that some of these people you see around the president don't actually come to support the NRM. No. Or even the PRU that they talk about. No. They are election merchants. They come and put a figure on you and say, if you pay this amount, you shall be announced as a winner. Simple. I protested. I said, you guys, you don't know what you're talking about. This can't come from people who are very close. He showed me evidence. I said, what? Some of these guys you see are actually trading. They are election merchants. So, that is where partly I forgave His Excellency the President. I said, these are things the President can never know. If he knew, he would never sanction them. The President Museveni that I know cannot sanction the indiscipline of making money in elections.
And that's where they fault the president, because he's quick to notice and point out the weaknesses and mistakes of his officials. But he does not go to the root cause of some of the problems.
Exactly. Now, for Shasi, you see, she left the election. She abandoned it. Even when Tango Doi became a factor in it. Tango Doi had not appeared. Why did Shasi leave? She left in anticipation of violence.
But there is also
Did the
a
president
rumor.
do anything about it?
There is
No.
a rumor that there was an agreement between the president, Shatsi, and Sodo, that each one of them would serve one term and relinquish for another. So Shatsi was only supposed to implement what was agreed on prior to the 2021 election.
Even then,
Yes.
where is it written? For us,
Was
me,
it
I'm a lawyer. I deal with evidence. Where evidence has been reduced to a document, you know that. You have
Yes,
done law.
yes.
Then, this oral evidence is parole.
It
It will
is
not
parole.
be invited. So the question is, what did Shasi write to the president? What was her specific communication? She raised the fears about the possible death or harm of her constituents. Now, Tango Doi had not entered that election. It was still in its infancy. It had not become a matter of the NRM Electoral Commission. No, they were not even nominated yet. So is the problem Tango Doi? No. Maybe, maybe not. But in the case of Maogwara, Tango Doi was not the problem. So, but when you come to the elections here, what we have just seen, what exactly is the problem? The culture that NRM adopted since 2006, not 1986. From 2006, the era of third term, commercialization of politics became official and an acceptable way of doing things, of managing elections in NRM. It became normal for anyone to purchase a vote. It became normal. Since then, in fact, the people, I was in this station on Tuesday. You were not the host.
Yes.
The host was asking me, why, if I don't purchase votes, how am I going to win? It has become so normal that it can even be mentioned over the radio as a challenge to an aspirant. So, the nationalist movement has now developed a culture where if you don't appear like you are interested in purchasing votes, or you don't have money to purchase votes, you are already a political failure.
Okay, thank you. Honorato.
Yes.
The Central Executive Committee of the NRM made an amendment in the party constitution that created a provision of party primaries by voting by lining up. Had we seen such incidents and skirmishes when it was secret ballot? Don't you think this move away from the secret ballot to a public gathering is what has created the need to bribe voters and, ferry them from locations, having them vote twice, and all these malpractices that we are seeing in the primaries?
Mr. Banyaji, I will start by disputing the earlier submission of Mr. Moses exonerating President Museveni from all these skirmishes. Because when you are a president, you have all eyes and ears on the ground. You have intelligence, you have counterintelligence, you have satellites, you have everything to monitor the country. So when you exonerate the president, I think you are also trying to kill something and come out with yours. All these are done at the hands and with the knowledge of the president. Let me tell you, from the word go, do you see this issue of not electing LC1s, renewing their term? It is meant with the purpose. One, to tell Chairman LC1s that you are the one to stay here as long as Mr. So-and-so is still here. I have seen that technique be used by the incumbent MPs, telling LC1s that once you don't allow me to stay, you mobilize for the president, you will also go. You think president does not know? You think he doesn't have intelligence and counterintelligence and even the satellites? He's aware. Now, what you are asking me about seat-sitting and taking back into lining behind the candidate actually tells me or reminds me of something I have ever discussed on this radio. That we are now, in Runyankore they call it okuzingama. When a child starts crawling and tries to stand, akagarka kazingama. That is stunted growth. So you are telling me that Uganda we have become stunted to the extent of failing to procure a book at an LC level, make a secret ballot, drop it in the box, and we go home.
It was never about affordability. It was about credibility. How credible is a secret ballot when there are officials that are going to stuff these ballots? Why don't we do an election in broad daylight where everyone will know the other one's line was longer than this one?
Now, Mr. Banyaji, equally when we make a comparison of what happened during the secret ballot and what happens during lining up behind your candidate of your choice, almost the difference is not there. Because one, elections are managed by knowing numbers. When we go into election cycle, we mark what we call electoral areas. How do you mark electoral areas? We first count people. How many are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you know 3 are going to go this side and 3 are on the other side. Then you carve villages. After knowing villages, then we come out with parishes. From parishes, we come to the sub-counties. From sub-counties, we go to the counties. From counties to the district. Does that one also require rocket science? Of course, you know the population in an area. Why do you staff? For us lawyers, you are taught to be a lawyer now. We look at the quality control. If you want to go to quality control, after knowing the numbers, you know electoral areas, then you appoint electoral officials. You train them. I remember it was once when I was here that I tasked members of parliament to ask electoral commission why they don't go for civic education. In the absence of civic education, in the absence of quality control, and in the absence of people with contract heart, we shall keep witnessing violence. I come from the county which lies on the border. People would ferry people from Tanzania
To vote.
to vote. We know them, they are brothers to the president.
Were they in the yellow book? Were they in the voters'
What are you
register?
saying? People would drive their lorries to Tanzania, carry people, come and vote. We have 2 settlements in Isinjiro. Those people, when it comes to election, they vote. They vote who? Those who are in power.
The Banyamulenge, the Congolese, the Sudanese, the Ethiopians.
The Burundi people. You find them voting. They are voters. And when you question it, they say for you, Tomanchokora. You don't know. Are you in Uganda? They start laughing at you. Now, when we are here and we are trying to tell masses that Uganda is ours, they should they should at least pick interest in what is happening. I told you before we started this show that if you newsmen and women had interest in election violence, you would put a watchful eye on Isinjiro, specifically Bukanga. What happened in Isinjiro South was just a Kasigas, a minor child crawling. But what happened in Bukanga is so grave, to the extent that those two contestants are relatives, they are cousins. One is Dr. Mpirwe, another one is Kangwaji. Kangwaji is a son to the president. Mpirwe is a cousin from the maternal aunt. They were contesting together. But the one camp shot the brother to the other.
We know that in the last election in 2021, there was a halt on the results in Isinjiro, where the party literally didn't even have a flag bearer.
In
the
our
same
constituency.
was with Maogola.
Now, if you look at Maogola, you look at what happened in Semba of Rwemiyaga. Whom do you find there? These are the very people, Toyota and Nziri.
Okay, let's stop for a
Now,
break
before,
shortly.
let me finish this. Somebody talked about merchants. If you go in this Ankole sub-region 13 districts, you will find a wave of candidates who subscribe to someone, they pay, and someone is their patron. You don't go there to pay homage, you lose an election. Because he's the one going to give you the army, he's the one going to give you tools of coercion. He's there. You can go for a break.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
We are back. It's 9:45 on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music, good friends. The Big Sit happens every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 11. We talk about politics, economics, sociology, name it. We are talking about the NRM primaries with a spotlight on the statement of the president, and he accused particular individuals that are creating all these bad consequences of the election. Bruce Wakunda, I want us to talk about the electoral officials. I've seen scenes in tally centers where candidates snatch results and chew paper where the declaration forms are. Let us go in the quality of people who man these elections. Where are they getting orders? And where is their power? And how are they conducting these primaries?
So before I come to that, Westgate, allow me to first congratulate the National Resistance Movement upon finishing its party primaries.
Majorly.
Majorly, they are done.
Majorly.
So to organize and mobilize and supervise these elections across the 72,000 villages is not an ordinary feat as well. It is a very intense and demanding activity in terms of logistical support, in terms of manpower, in terms of securing people's lives. So I also congratulate those who emerged as winners. I pray they get the grace to lead the people and never take people's interests for granted. To those who lost, we pray that you harmonize, and we pray for reconciliation so that we fight on one front going forward in the general election. How we manage and navigate these post-primary contradictions in our party is going to shape how we do in the coming election. Wesige, I saw the president's letter. The right word I can use is those were labored explanations. And let me build on what Honorato said. Let's dispel the impression created by Council Moses that the president is
exonerating the president.
Yes, is not aware of what is happening. The man is the highest consumer of intelligence in this country. If you look at our party primaries, the entire state apparatus and machinery is deployed in these elections.
Perhaps that is the problem, where everyone is very powerful.
Part of the problem. DSOs, PSOs, GSOs, CMY, ISO. You saw he even said they are the ones going to conduct these investigations. What the president wrote is not that he's making a new discovery. He went to school, did research, and this is new knowledge. The same dynamics and circumstances that have been shaping our primary elections prevailed even this time. The same dynamics. But to me, still I believe this is, if you look, this is so far the most peaceful election we've had. To me.
Reports about 2 deaths?
Yes, to me. Because in the past, and people talked about it here, about lining up. I believe that is the most transparent method of voting, because it is done in broad daylight. Ideally, a baraza is supposed to sit, they read your name, they verify your corresponding details. If you are a resident, people will know you. Then you go and line up behind a person. The counting doesn't even take 2 minutes, unless people cause chaos. So, and if you see most of the areas where there have been pockets of violence and chaos, it is in places where these registers were not followed. I don't understand the essence behind. We had a 1 full year activity of doing verification and digitalizing our registers. And the guidelines were very clear. You're supposed to follow registers. So people take a chance of that confusion when registers are not used. That is how they adulterate results. 3, about the quality of election officials. For instance, what you talked about someone chewing results. We had that challenge in Kazo in 2021. We are in the tally center. Results were being read and tallied. Someone broke the computer, tore all declaration forms. The next thing we had, Tango Doi was in Barara declaring results. These people need training. These electoral officials are compromised. Their payment is also not as good as you would wish.
Supplement a bit. I have a supplement. I don't think whether it was on this radio, but I talked about Tango Doi. If you want to talk about the village registrar, first talk about Tango Doi.
Is he the most competent for the job?
He may be competent. At his level, he can. But he's more compromised than even a village registrar. Look at this one. I was questioning, how can a national chairperson of electoral commission of the ruling government, of the ruling party like NRM, move from Kampala, come to Mbarara, come to Rwampara, and you find him in Rwibogo on an LC1 making people line up. Go to Nyamitiobora here, you saw him with a stick. A national chairman? Where do you leave a district registrar? Where do you leave a regional commissioner? To bypass all those ranks and go to the village. What is your interest?
So
there was a letter authored by Sarah Opendi to the president, and she told the president, this man is witch hunting me. In fact, this is my ex-husband. he didn't want me to be in parliament. So this is so if we think that all candidates, some candidates may have a personal vendetta against.
Let me conclude it.
Odoi, yes.
Let me conclude
Please.
it. You remember when they were nominating these candidates of MPship, the first 3 people to be nominated was the vice president. The very first people 3 that they had a trip, so they were given a preferential treatment to be nominated first. Vice president was down and she lamented before Tango Doi that, please, Tango Doi, kindly give us grace.
We saw the exchange with Kabatsi when they were just going to start the primary.
For
yes.
me, before we reach Tango Doi, and you know, let me say it on public radio, Tango Doi is the most pathetic and insufferable person I've ever seen in the National Resistance Movement.
That's so huge.
And you know, if the president had goodwill to streamline these processes, to make them transparent, to make them fair, an election is not just a mere event when you line up behind someone's back or you tick a ballot. It is a process. Tango Doi should have been handled because he's at the center of all the controversies, if you were to look at that. But before we reach Tango Doi,
yes,
we vote from the cell, you go to the parish, you go to the sub-county, you go to the district. That entire layer can be easily manipulated by people who wield power, by people who wield influence, by the people who have money. Some of the things I've noted, and this is disgraceful, and you cannot continue to blame the rain for making your bed wet when you didn't close the window. Even we as the people, we've talked about civic education. If you look at the way candidates we call it colossal spending. People are investing billions of money. Even people are demanding for sugar. More's opponent in Kazo was distributing sugar, was distributing soap, was distributing a packet of salt. You can imagine degenerating to such a level.
No, we saw underwear, female underwear here in Shema that had a Kateshu, but you can imagine your wife being given underwear with Kateshu Mba's image.
So, you know, somebody has talked about someone has talked about, but for me, not all hope is lost. Because I remember there was thorough research done, and in the 10th parliament, out of 457 or 59 members of parliament, 317 never went back, 31 stayed away. So around 100 something went back to parliament. So if you look at the attrition rate still, there is still some hope. Let also those people with the power and influence make way for other people to go there and eat. The Moseses, after all, it is about eating. And for me, my major concern is always about these
as you conclude.
Yes, as I conclude, these local councils and other administrative units, these elections we had the other day, because they are at the center of service delivery, they are the engines of development. And I believe one of the best things the NRM government did, the best legal and constitutional reform, was to introduce decentralization, regardless of the challenges these districts are facing. And being heavily reliant on the central government, which is messed up, and some conditional grants there and there. Because these parliamentarians we have now, if you look at the quality, it is just a mess. It is a waste of resources. It is an avenue for them to show strength and mess up this country.
Okay. We're stopping for a break. When we come back, you will have you, Moses. I think you had some information. And I will have Sifa Safi have her way. Let's stop for a break and make a bit of money. When we come back, we shall be more into the discussion. Good morning.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
It's a minute past 10 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Good music, good friends. The conversation is going just pretty good, and we want you to be a part of it. Call us on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910, or send a message on our social media handles, 912 Cruise FM on X and 91.2 Cruise FM on Facebook. Chris TV on TikTok and YouTube, and we're streaming live, so you can be able to watch all that is happening here. With me in studio is Moses Nwagaba. He's a lawyer and an advocate of the High Court. He wants to be Member of Parliament in Barra City North. I have Bruce Owakunda, who is a person from all the way in Kazo there. And I have Honrato Mohangu, who is a lawyer and an advocate of the High Court, and Sifa Safi, who is a regular panelist here on the big seat, and a social critic, political analyst. Let's get that information, Moses, before I go to Sifa.
Yeah, I will summarize because I want to give my sister Sifa a chance to. I can see she's burning with some good content. Two things. One, you see, Tanga Odoi is not clean. But you see, when you put yellow bananas in a room full of monkeys, and then you put me in charge of the yellow bananas, you have given me a very hard task. That's Tango Doi. I do not think that there is, in the circumstances now in NRM, there is any of us here would be appointed chairman electoral commission in NRM. And you manage this job very well. And after elections, people are clapping hands that you did a wonderful job. The reason is simple. This deep-seated, well-entrenched, indiscipline, cutting vertically from the top to bottom within the national resistance movement. To the extent that no one would become a chairperson of the electoral commission and get out clean. In fact, Tango Do is a fighter. I know that he is not clean either, because I don't have any story in this election about him, but I have some story in the last election of 2020, somewhere in Angola here, where I think he was also complicit of bribery. You get it? But I want to state categorically that the NRM, the frame, the character, the tradition, the custom now in the national resistance movement is such that it is very hard for it to organize a free and fair election. So unfair, by the way, to the extent that even the state is part of the indiscipline. Just imagine if what has just occurred in the elections occurred with the PFF or NUP. The party would have been banned by now. The party would be in abeyance. Imagine this violence in Isinjiro South, which people saw. Honorato was talking about Okanga, but now Isinjiro South, which people saw. The banning, the killing, the etc. If that happened with PFF or NUP, the party would be banned. Permanently, it would be an excuse. Okay. But in NRM, it is normal. Lastly, permit me also to say this.
Yes.
I did not say that the president is innocent. I said there are blames we place on him which he should not take. I do not think that the president Museveni that I know can sanction the indiscipline of taking bribes from candidates.
He sanctions.
Wait, Honorato.
He sends money to chairman LC1.
I'm talking about Honorato. Listen very well.
Yes.
I'm talking about the indiscipline of going to a candidate and you say, give me 300 million, I announce you as a winner.
There's a
money
personal
element
deal between actors.
Yes.
I think that is there, but there is also the patronizing that the Museveni I know also does.
That is issue two.
That lubricates.
The first issue is whether whether President Museveni can be part of the conversation or a deal to take money from a candidate.
I think we all agree that is not.
That is, he cannot do that. He cannot do that. But he is complicit in the what? In the violence, because you say he wrote a document. That letter he wrote, that communication he made. When I read it, I understood that he was trying to tackle some, not all, because
some of
the indiscipline and the indisciplined people, not all. Because his letter, it could not be silent about Rwemiyaga. It could not be silent about Rwemiyaga.
How come at the end of the day he rewards those disciplined
yes.
It could not be silent about Rwemiyaga.
Mr. Moses.
Okay,
So,
thank you, Moses.
Mr. Banyaji, before we come to another person, I one day narrated you a story of prison officers. A prison officer will never cane an inmate. He calls Katikiro and he tells him, please, go and instruct those boys to dig. They say, we are tired. He tells Katichiro, go down and I teach you how to teach others to cultivate. He canes seriously. And that transferred anger. You will see how those inmates will dig like tractors. Now, when you say that president does not know, and he knows he has Tango Doi, Secretary General, ministers, let him handle one of them.
In a nutshell, you're saying that buck stops
with him,
with the president.
Yes.
Okay. Sifa, NRM Primaries. I had a conversation with a friend, Sifa, yesterday by call, who told me, you see, the elections of the NRM, these things of repairing bridges and lobbying for women and creating circles is useless. Get 500 million, 600 million, $1 billion shillings on the day of voting. Go and buy your vote to parliament. Is that the NRM you know?
Largely, yes. But allow me to thank my colleagues for their submissions. Banyaji, what you're saying is you're actually almost asking the obvious. These things of elections and whatever, you see sometimes you have topics here where we come and, move around, try to sugarcoat here and there. But these are things people have seen. The listeners have seen just yesterday. So, however much we may try to defend some of these things, for me, this time around, it's quite hard. Banyaji, for us who have been on ground, myself in particular, because I didn't give it a lot of time, the campaigns and the whatever, because I'd really seen that I'm not going to benefit that much. Benefiting in terms of, am I going to get what I'm, working for? We've seen people who had never been seen around ever before. But some 2 weeks towards the election, they came with a very big sacks and cars and whatever full of money. Before we knew it, all agents of the other opponents had been bought up off. And they were now supporting the other side. So what you're saying this time around in Uganda, it is about money. Whether you're good, whether you can represent your people very well, as long as you don't have money, it is very hard. We have a few cases where God, I don't know how he does it, and you just come up as a winner because you don't have money, but people just like you like that. Otherwise, it is very hard. Banyaji, where I was, not my polling station actually, but where I was, about 2 polling stations, we saw people being told that if you sign these forms, actually an LC1 chairperson threatening people that I'm going to chase you out of my village in court, because I don't know of any person who has bought a village or has formed a village. But someone says, I'm the chairperson of this area. If you don't vote so and so, make sure you relocate to another place. And you ask yourself where we're going. Every time the president is talking, he's talking about how they fought and the things they fought for. But as we speak right now, those very things are coming back to Uganda, Banyaji. And like my friends were saying, there are particular districts we know in this country where we know it is a sure deal. We are going to have chaos. We are going to have violence. And in most cases, we know that people who are behind this, I don't know why they're not being dealt with. And someone, my friend Bruce was saying that why are these people rewarded after some time? Yes, we have seen this severally. There are the people who appointed RDCs in some cases. There are the people who appointed this and that. And so we get disappointed. Some people genuinely work for this party, Banyaji. And they want free and fair elections. They want peace. They want to have supporters who are genuine. They want to have this. But others, on the contrary, are doing the opposite. But those who are doing the opposite are the people who are being recognized here and there. I want to give you an example. Dr. Tango Doi said some time back that we have been learning from the previous elections. But what have they learned? Vote rigging, people casting votes in different polling stations, people being counted from one line to another, you know, people being given money, agents and other people, and what have they learned and what have they done? In this particular election, Banyaji, I expected that some people are going even to be, disqualified from this whatever campaign, but nothing happened. We saw people doing certain things that, Banyaji, are unthinkable. I mean, you cannot think of, you know, but you cannot talk of everything you've seen or heard about. Some of those things we just keep to ourselves because we may be asked so many questions here and there. And we expected that abantu nibija kurugamo konka nothing. The other people are going to be supported against opposition politicians. But I've said here severally that the fortunate part of it, or to NRM's advantage, is that we don't have a real opposition. We don't have real opposition politicians. But if we did, Banyaji, NRM was going to be shocked. Because bambaza kubasingo general elections babata kuza kuchichiriza. Reason being, we have gotten people to flag bearers who are fake, if I may use that word, in most cases. Some people have genuinely, by the way, gotten votes. People have supported some people genuinely. So if we had real opposition in Uganda, NRM was not going to believe it. You know, it's not there. For example, Atom Munimbada Omwami council, yes.
Madam Sifa. Yes. I want to allude to previous happenings from 2006. We lost 23 cabinet ministers. Of recent, last elections, we lost 19 ministers and 64% of the incumbents did not go back to parliament. In these primaries, the last Thursday's primaries, or almost 10 ministers are down in Ankole here, not in the whole country. 10 ministers in Ankole Chigezi, they have lost, and more than 57% of the incumbents. And when it came to women MPs, it was worse. Actually, it is like 96% of the women representatives are not going back.
So are we just blaming the system for the sake of it? But yet indeed, it gives the results that we would expect, because incumbency would help someone who has been member of parliament to have their way back to parliament. But if at all the incumbent can't even rig their way, that means the system could be. It gives
her an answer that opposition is real. But because an illegality of election malpractice and violence has been legalized by NRM, primaries, it means the process of illegalities under NRM it is now legal.
Thank you so much, Bani. Thank you, Council, but I don't think it relates directly to what I was talking about. What I was saying is, our opposition to Tvaruho, it is not real, and we all know that it is business like any other. Council Moses talked about the fact that some people around President Museveni are not there because they support him or NRM, and that's what it is. This, everyone to PLU have presidents of PLU here in Imbarara. They are also looking for another project somewhere, somehow. Not all of them, but some of them. So for me, if we had opposition politicians who are real, NRM was not going to believe it, because most of their flag bearers are there through, I don't know, illegalities and all that, but it's not there also. They are also just there. You survive already. Yes, people have told you here. We know some of these people who have been in NRM for so many years. We know these people. I can also do it if I wanted, but I told you some of us have a conscience to respect. We have people who are agents.
But that is not only synonymous with Uganda. You go to Kenya.
Yes.
Kenya, a person can change 3 political parties.
Exactly.
In 1 week, just to get to parliament. That's or to become president.
That is true. And that is why we are losing out on leaders who are deserving. That is why we have all these fake people in parliament and wherever, in councils and whatever. So the reason being, the flag bearers, flag bearers, because of money and all those other things. Intimidation, who doesn't know? We have seen people, like I told you, some people are threatened to be chased out of their villages. But not just that. He never business, Mayor, is it Mayor Kachebes went somewhere Mchikonomo, and people liked him, by the way. Konkaka bajirati mwale bantazawo atimaba makara atimwa abenku atimwa ababodaboda ate tawunu twenda kugikilininga apa tunmuiza kurugaho ati namwe hati muruha bw'embabazi zanje abo kwanyu nimbahorereza. Now you can imagine hati umuntu w'amakara nabura atakuterera kachebezi in that case. So we are saying now politics is not about kugambira abantu ibyo kuza kubakorera ibyo byo ningashi okugendera ha program yi government yine, but it's about how you play your game here and there. Nyenda kugambira abanyajungu, there are people agents now who we have Western Uganda, Mbarara, Uganda in general, whatever. People come out and tell you that Honorato kono nda kubail C5 cha person no mulisinjiro ndote kwa kuriba nakana nanka. Then give him 500M, then he knows how to distribute it. They put people in different categories. I heard people were saying we have people in this village, my village where I come from. We have people worth 500. Then we have people who are worth 200. Then there's these people are going to give 1K when they're lining up. 1K. Imagine people lining up behind Honorato and someone is distributing money, pulling these people from Honorato's line to Bruce's line. That is not an election. So Nyewaza Kumbuza, this was bogus and abortive. It is not a primary election for NRM. And for that matter, therefore, I want to call upon people who are responsible.
Yes.
Who are in charge of NRM. That please, much as you have some you are self-seekers like the president called it, and for me that is even lack of a better word. It is more than that. It is worse. We are not going to see what we want, and it does not only affect politics but service delivery and all that. We have people in Imbara here who think they are so good, but every time this money comes here in Imbara, it is taken back because they cannot sit and settle and use this money for Ugandans. So what are we getting out of this? It is high time voters realized that this 2K is a sentence back bank agent, no one can refuse to receive money. But get that money and vote someone who you think is worth it. This brings me back to the issue of lining up behind voters. By the way, people, we are in the 21st century. Someone said, my brother Bruce, that it is very transparent and all that. Yes, it would be. Conquered, we get what we want out of it. Because people are eating money from both sides, and at the end of the day, they don't vote. Simply because they fear. That is the reason why you had low voter turnout. People will say, I've taken so and so's money as well as so and so's money, so where will I line up? Let me stay home. And at the end of the day, we all know that a free and fair election has characteristics of which it matters how many people have voted. You know, how many people have been counted and how many people have been eligible. But as we speak right now, everybody voted from wherever they wanted. A person passing by would be called upon to go and vote, line up. We have cases of where pupils, not even students, primary pupils, 16 and 17, were put in 2 cars and transported to some places to vote. You can imagine. That is not good at all. So for me, Banyaji, there are so many things that NRM has to fix before we go to the general elections. Otherwise, we are not going to be shocked because we expect this. So many things are going to come out as a result of them not being serious about elections and all that. And I want to tell you that as a result of this, Banyaji, you're going to see so many people crossing to other parties. Not because they hate NRM or President Museveni, but because of these bogus things that are being done in the primaries, NRM primaries. Okay. And as a result, we'll be losing out because politics is about numbers. So if you keep seeing people moving out much as we know it is a mass party, but even if 2 or 3 people Banyaji cross to another party, that is a loss. Like I said, politics is about numbers. So let these people Banyaji fix these small issues and let us deal with these agents, which is not easy because some of these people are untouchable.
Okay, we're going to make some money. When we come back, we shall be able to get some of your feedback on our social media handles, and I'll get back to the gentleman later on in the show. Good morning.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
21 minutes past 10 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music, great friends. Thank you so much for not leaving your radio, even turning it down. So we're talking about the NRM primaries. I have a message from Cliff Manyero Mujoni, who is aspiring councillor Chamhunga, who is saying this time round we had fair elections. Though the challenge ahead of the NRM primaries is with the registrars who are related to the aspirants. There was that issue where, how is it coincidental that the registrars are related to some of the candidates? And he's saying that what should have been, they should have been transferred from one district to another to avoid conflict of interest. Why would Tango Doi spend 48 hours without declaring a winner? You know, another moderate Dr. Tango Doi changed the results in exchange for money, like in Rampara. How can someone who lost all the sub-counties be declared the winner? Another case in point was why delaying to announce Lillian Ruteraho as the winner of Isinjiro. You're in Charahanga Ward in Ivanda Municipality and you're an aspiring councillor. Thank you for that message. I have Henry Nwamanya who is listening all the way from Kasubi, Boyogere, and you're saying greetings to the panel. Let's open the lines on 752-912-912 and 780-910. On Cruise TV, I see Tumsime Andrew. That's the character of the president. Museveni wants to be part of the affected side. He knows all those and what is happening within the NRM. Ori Chiriza, Christopher, you're watching all the way in Tunga, Mojodad Muhinda, I see you. And I see Zubair Kayongo and Eddie Official. Thank you so much, Katongole Bill. And they're saying those candidates that have been voted out have gone because they no longer have money to buy their votes. On 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big set. Just lost that call. Hello, caller.
Yes,
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is People's Council Akajush Police, Jordan Morata, and I'm calling in from Shamkov.
Yes, please.
I know those people, those MPs previously who are voted, actually some of them were not voted, but they tried to rig the election. And people are waiting them in the corner in 2026 general election, and people are ready for fundamental change. People want...
We lost you, unfortunately. I have on X, Omcha Ronald, you're saying actions speak louder than words. Just mere speaking won't signal anything. And more so, I think the malpractice has become one of the core values of the NRM. You're listening all the way in Rutoto in Rubirizi. Isaac Nasasra, you're saying our president is doing all that is needed to stop all the malpractice. I see you. Andrew Tumsime, you're saying this is a post-mortem report. He was supposed to give this message before going into the elections. Amon Marcus, you're saying that discipline does not stop corruption. Then Godfrey Noe, you're saying NRM has failed totally because in this century voting by lining up. Dr. Nwagaba Yona, you're saying he's more likely to do the same. He's condemning the general elections. In fact, he's only ready doing it, bribing people in the ghettos. Innocent Aijuna, you're saying NRM primaries have showed us what is to happen in 2026. I see you, Mohanji, Gilbert, and Rogers, Natkwasa there. Let me come back to the calls maybe before I go to Moses. Yes, the big set. When you call in, you turn down the volume of your radio, or else it gives us feedback here. The big set.
Morning, yes, Jevanyaji.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
As usual, we're talking with Kayongo Zubair in Bara 2 miles, Arsenal blood. You people, this NRM government led this country 40 years. We can't say that they have no money to print ballot papers. Because the reason why that system they have brought of lining up is not a good system. Okay. Because they have waiting each other to lining up. That's where they start chaos and shedding blood.
Okay.
So NRM have to change that system. It's not good for sure.
Okay, thank you. Let me pick this very call. The big set.
Yes, hello, Professor.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Wesley. I am Isaac Nasaswa calling in from Garcia.
Yes, Isaac.
Yeah, about the topic. I'm in with Miss Sifasaf. We don't have opposition party in Uganda because I just imagine if it was all the scandal that happened, if it was maybe no for any other political party, opposition political party in Uganda, what would have happened? Very many youth and other members would be in prison now because of what has been happening.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. Thank you. I'm sorry I had to bring in Moses. Moses, every time Chama Penduzi of Tanzania and the African National Congress of South Africa hold any kind of internal elections. The other day we had CCM elect John Pombe Magufuli ahead of Edward Lowassa. Edward Lowassa left CCM and went and joined the opposition. Time and again in South Africa, each time a prominent leader loses an internal election, they go to the Democratic Alliance or other political organizations. Unfortunately, it's different for Uganda. Or fortunately, even when these political actors feel suffocated within the NRM, like Honorato has stated, the system is corrupt, the system is broken, it needs overhauling, but they never cross to the opposition. How bad is the opposition that it's not attracting even these that feel they are not having it in the NRM?
The system is so rigid that when you go to opposition, you anticipate failure. Even the imagination of it. Me and Honorato gave up on NRM primaries. Why do you think I want to run as an independent? I was here during the election. But I consider NRM primaries silly. I cannot participate in them.
But here in the West, the moment you get the flag, you're literally in parliament.
That's the problem. Exactly what you're mentioning is the problem. That when you get the flag of NRM, others don't matter. That's the problem. That's where we are. So it has become the prize. NRM flag is now the prize. They are fighting for it because when you have it, it's a sure win. Why? Because the state will assist you to reach and win. That's what it means. You dispense with personal, okay? You stop spending. You spend less. No, you don't stop. You spend less. You put in less effort. After all, the state, the government, the party will be there for you. You qualify. That's how you qualify. Now.
Yes,
I'm very sorry.
Yes, Sifa, give us that information.
Actually, this thing is also going to change. You're going to see surprises, like I told you. It is now not going to be a must that when you have the NRM flag, then automatically you go to parliament. You're going to see this, and specifically, there's a district I know here in Western Uganda. You're going to be shocked. It is now a lady against the NRM flag bearer who is a man. Let's wait and see.
Okay.
Very well. Yes, that's also correct, and it is also going to be correct here in Mbarara City. I looked at DR forms of some people who claim to be winners, my brother. Turning 65 into 650 is a gain of how many votes? 535.
Just one single
single DR. Another, you saw a DR where someone has 16 and they put a 2 behind, 216. So if you are holding a flag of that type, then you must be having some butterflies jumping up and down in your stomach, because the next election is going to be harsh for you. So, but I want to be fairer to the voter, because it is easy to come here. We blame one category of people, the leaders. We blame President Museveni. We blame Tango Doi. We blame the registrars. But they are not the only pillars in the NRM elections. There is another pillar, the voter. What is the construct of a modern voter in the national resistance movement?
Is he aware of his rights?
Does the voter know what this election is about and what benefit?
There is someone who said in the Ugandan way, it's the voter that is in parliament. It is the voter, yes, that is now in the parliament because of the quality of people that we have.
Absolutely.
As Ugandans.
They're not even voters.
You see people who should be LOC2 councillors, they are the ones in parliament. Some of them have been appointed ministers. Person who should have stopped at LOC2 as a councillor, not even at Gomborora, not at sub-county.
These as a true reflection of the people that voted.
That's
Yes.
what I'm
No.
saying. I'm saying, can
Members.
we use this program to assist the voters
Members.
to understand
Mr. Moses, let
the
me
benefit
help you
they are
here.
supposed to get out of an election? Because when they understand the benefit, they will start looking for people who fit squarely in that objective.
I don't know. Kashar may be a bit developed where you come from and Mbarara here. Where I come from, Kunjiri Nyachenyi, it is typical what General Tafire did. Let us meet at 1 and Awaraji kills us. These are the people.
See?
And these are the majority.
You see?
And these are the voters. That is the truth of the matter.
But we
So
And they
a
also-
person like that, who is semi-illiterate or rather illiterate, dictates who should lead them.
We must also not shy away
Speak
from
to the microphone.
We must also not shy away from the fact that most of these political actors that are doing this glaring impunity are elites. These are people who have gone to school. So we cannot continue to blame the other voter who gets 1,000, who lacks civic education, who is not sensitized about
But
his
how
his
much
right.
civic
What
education,
about
gentlemen?
me, Bruce, who is given 200,000 to exchange my vote?
But let me ask you.
Who is used to
But
alter
how
results?
much civic education does a person need who is desperate? They have no food. They have.
Why do they become desperate? No.
How would
Members.
you expect that person to apply the knowledge
Not
they
hold
have?
on.
Bole
Can I-
chile banyaji banze
That is too
kumzinda.
much expectation, bro.
Banya-
I want
Banyaji
Moses to
Mzinda.
tell me
Yeah.
if people who alter results and add a 2 on a declaration form and manipulate results
Villagers.
are villagers. If it is my grandmother or it is my mother who is of modest education or lacks education, I want him to clarify that.
Okay. You say you can blame the leaders, the elites, the etc. But you are educated. You go to your village and advise people to commit suicide.
No, but if
Hold on. Go to your village and advise people to commit suicide. We will see how many will die.
They won't.
They will refuse.
They will refuse.
That means they know what is good for them and what is bad for them.
means they have
For me,
education.
yes. For me, my point is,
As you conclude.
yes, in these elections, why does hunger increase? Why do you wait for elections and you lack food? What were you eating between the last time we voted and this election? What were you eating?
But
So,
gentlemen, Moses, we had a member of parliament here called Tsime Michael. He educated the voters the roles of a member of parliament: representation, oversight, appropriation. And he was categorical in informing the electorate that a member of parliament is not a grave digger. A member of parliament is not an MC for a wedding. An MP is not a teacher. So don't expect a member of parliament to come for burials, to be an MC for an event. That is not why you elected them. They voted him out of parliament.
That was not the reason.
That wasn't the reason, Banyaji.
That was not the reason to see me lose the election.
But at least he did that part. of
Yes,
informing the
I
electorate.
understand the civic education.
Yes.
But that was not the reason he lost the election. He lost the election for some other reasons.
Yes.
Not because he did not educate the masses. They knew. But they refused to vote for him for a different reason or different reasons. Therefore, to conclude on this thing, I want us to appreciate that the voter is a pillar in these elections. That the voter needs constant education and constant monitoring. Unfortunately, the people who would be supervising to see whether the voter has understood the topic are the ones who are actually corrupting that voter. That's the unfortunate part of it.
Okay.
But I think for us to divorce the voter from the problem is to make a mistake, because they have participated, the voters have participated in littering the electoral processes in Uganda and in failing democracy in Uganda. If they woke up and said, we have stopped the indiscipline, we are tired of your bribes, you are worried you bring it after the elections. During elections, we want to be disciplined enough to find better leaders. They will do it, because in some places, they have done it. Don't think there is no worry there.
Honorato, perhaps these are the pains of a growing democracy. Uganda, only about 62, 63 years, young democracy. These are the pains of growth. Why don't we just celebrate the fact that we're at least making strides as a people?
Stride is going where?
Going
back
to
into the tradition of riding behind a preferred candidate. Now, Mr. Banyaji, Moses and I, we are lawyers. Article 17 of this Constitution of Uganda is very clear that it's the role of every citizen to fight for the rights of vulnerable people. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
So, in assessing the stake of each stakeholder in an election cycle, that very last person who lies behind a preferred candidate is vulnerable. The state has put him in the state of vulnerability. Is not taught, and it is intended. That's why in previous 3-4 elections, 2090 something, 2000, 2006, we used to see contestants writing manifestos because they are trying to show off to the electorates that we can afford A, B, C, and D. Now it is different. It is who laughs best, who can create humor, who can be a good MC on the, who can jump with the women, who can jump with the women and give good hugs, that will be awarded by voting him into either position of power or parliament or something else. Now, I don't want to add an insult to a wound, to someone who is vulnerable. Ogo muntu wansi no mugwaho. Bajenzere bamuchwa vulnerable kandi bakigenderire. Actually, the political maturity that is exhibited by the masses is higher than some of us who are elites. Itwe abagamba hakajungu ka bukozi, itwe turukubi. Whatever political mafias and political mercenaries in the political cycles, nabakuvuga emotoka, nabagamba ho rujungu, nakujati ningamba na meja nanka. Ahendera tire population ahitembagara. Now, Mr. Moses, I want to elicit your submission of actually attacking the vulnerable voter. But
if Moses was going to Kashari to explain to the people of Kashari what he intended to do for them in parliament, and they were in the exchange only asking, don't waste our time. We know that, we know you're a good man, your intentions are good, but we are thirsty. We need hope.
They have reduced to beggars.
Is it Moses who reduced them to beggars?
Of course he's not the one, but the system. I was telling you that when we are going into general elections, you will see NRM from the Secretariat sending between 150 to 200,000 to every chairman LC1. They disguise that it is for mobilization.
But we had 30 vehicles given to traditional leaders just the other day.
And you think that one is simple? That money is appropriated by parliament. But guess what? It's president who presided over and said, I'm the one giving you. Because he wants those people to be subdued. Look at the church ministers, clerics, the bishops. Bishops are now toothless. Because whoever is consecrated the bishop, the first gift is either V6 or a V8 chaser. During elections, he will not talk about anything to do with irregularities in election. Babu Zimbabwe, ahasher donaraho na ajivuga. UAR. Hari arambati ajine UBH na UAR. Omjenzi bachenga akajine UDD. Nizimane namba zazo na kara zazo. Owananko wa chinchizi akajata mwampaka chemu mpempango te kubasa nsozo witu. Owibanda bakajimuletera n'ekisumuruzo cyayo. Owachiru ogwaragamba. You wait for them. They are turned into beggars. Kumbe these dioceses can afford even to buy vehicles for their bishops.
Yes.
I was at Rugaga.
But then I'm going to play devil's advocate. If I am President Museveni who is gifting bishops, what is the character of a bishop who would say, President Museveni, thank you, it is a good signal, but no?
I what?
What stops a bishop from rejecting a gift? We've seen it.
Let me tell you, it's us, the elite people, who will tell bishops. Of recent, I met the Archbishop Lambert. The first word I told him, why don't you receive my call? I don't need anything from you. Yabona kumpurichiriza. Mugambire chinchigamba muri nyankore. Muburize Archbishop. Wota kubasa kwate simu yanje honorato. Ndi murumuna wawe. Tindi mukaturichwa hansi. At least nintuje mtware 5 mukibo. Ndiyo muntu arikwebasa noja kwate yo. Abwine kumpurichiriza.
Okay, let's stop for a break.
So, we need to be open. We need to develop that instinct. Umuntu kamugambiriza maraka murya akabona kur. Hata natere simu yanje najikwata.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great.
On 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
We are back. It's a 11:15 on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Good music, good friends. I want to appreciate all of you. There's a listener there that ardently listens to the Big Seat every Saturday. I want to say thank you, and all these public spaces, petrol stations, supermarkets, markets, and all these areas where our people are that listen to the Big Seat. Bruce, there's a tribunal that was constituted, headed by my good friend John Musime. He's going to investigate and interrogate and come up with perhaps a change in the results of the primaries. What should we expect from the tribunal?
I don't know what we should expect from the tribunal. But all we demand from the tribunal is that it should be independent. It should not yield to undue influence. And but I have less trust in that tribunal, like I've said. I've said it here. It is their moment to shine now. People are already preparing sacks of money to go and reclaim their fake victories. But the tribunal said, for me, as a supporter of the national resistance movement,
and as a young man, really,
we should accept that there is institutional fatigue. After 40 years, there is institutional fatigue. And you know, going live on air on all forums of debate, and you pretend like there are no significant and visible challenges and gaps in our systems, is paying lip service to our party. My appeal is to our national chairman, the president, the man who is playing a leading role in pursuing stability in even other countries. Now I saw he added another name, Semarungu or something like that, from Sabarwanyi. A full-fledged war for 5 years on a legitimate government with 27 people and 41 guns. You defeat ADF and all these rebel outfits. What is with this soft handling of criminals in the movement? Why is he massaging their ego? The president has always been a consensus builder and a consummate one at that. He's always looking for common ground and compromises. So he should step in now and say either this country belongs to the system or belongs to the people.
Bruce, I would want to step into the feet of the president. President Museveni is not an agent of himself on every polling station.
Yes.
It is these individuals that are going to hunt for the president's vote and make sure the president gets majority in their constituents. But at the same time, they will do it not very gently. They will break the law and do all kind of things to make sure the president is still Yoweri Kaguta Museveni perpetually.
The movement or Uganda is not short of capable leaders. Take, for instance, Moses here. And I'm not campaigning for him. But he would make a gold standard of a good leader. He has all it takes to be a good member of parliament. So it is not that we are short of people, that if you remove Tango Doi or remove these self-seekers, as you call them, we shall not have people to replace them. The man, Honorato, has already told you here, we lost ministers, already 10 have already gone. Do you mean he's not going to have replacements? The only challenge is going to be replacing, it is like changing, yes. So the problem is replacing thieves with thieves or people with impunity with impunity. So the president must stand firm and put his foot forward, make thorough investigations, they should give him a report and resolutions, and he must act on them. Like I told you, an election is a process. It is not a mere event. This is not a first primary we've had. We carry our challenges and gaps and all these evils into the next cycle of elections. It is like we are like the French Babons who are said to have learned and forgot nothing. So the back starts and stops with the party chairman. And you see, we literally have no abanyankore nibagira ngo ebimwebe manywenda tubugangwa kano hari ibintu byotakwasagambira nka ready age kogire ngo the problem is NRM has stifled the debate brantantly. They are avoiding accountability post elections. When do you go to your structures and call these structures and say what happened, give us feedback, give us a report, what should we do they do that? After elections, the secretariat is redundant. They don't have any other activities. They don't call even these people in structures to train them and equip them. Zero.
They have three people to talk about.
Sifa, there are cliques in the NRM. You've had the Kadaga, the Among. We have office of the national chairperson. We have PLU now. And these different forces, some of the reasons we have the problems that we have in the NRM.
To cut you short, you can imagine the CDF, who happens to be the son of the president, was on his official X handle threatening Sechkubo before primaries.
Yes.
So what do you expect?
He threatened this Buyaga man, Tinkasimere.
Yes.
And he was even arrested him.
What transpired there?
See, for these groups and the kingpins, we know they are kingpins even here in the West. Isn't that the reason some of these occurrences are here with us?
Definitely correct. That is the reason why some of these things are happening. In my earlier submission, I gave you an example of people here in Mbarara who think that being PLU gives you the opportunity or even a ticket to heaven. Because I've seen at one point, people even clashing, that PLU supporters think that if you're ONC or if you're supporting President Museveni, you're backward and outdated. And I've personally experienced this. Some time back, I was the media coordinator for the office of the national chairman, who is President Museveni. And I did whatever I did. But for me, you see, I'm the type who cannot be intimidated like that. You would see people telling you that when you go to radio, when you go to Cruise FM, say this and that. I mean, that is stupid. Are you the one who has transported me here? Do you have my brain? Do you have my conscience? I'm a political analyst and not some other people who want these handouts like some people we know. So what I'm trying to say is these different forces want to show that they're the ones who are doing things very well, better than the other forces. I know people in PLU who cannot see eye to eye with people in ONC, not even just here in Imbara, but at even a national level. So we are saying, if you're all supporters of President Museveni, why do you think you're different? And why do you bring in these differences? The only thing is budgetary. There are monetary reasons. You want to go to President Museveni and say that for us, we are the people who go to radio as ONC media or as PLU, so we need this and this money. And at the end of the day, when they are fighting for that little money, some of us are rich at heart. And that is why we are what we are. Banyaja, I want to tell you that if you have a common enemy, some of these things should have a lot in common. That's what I was telling my brother here, who was saying that opposition politicians are not given the opportunity to shine. Even if they were, they are not there to shine politically. But they are there to see their pockets growing bigger. And that's the reason I'm saying we don't have opposition. So finally, Banyaja, on the same, allow me to briefly comment on the issue of, my friends talked of the issue of voters being vulnerable and being contributors to what is happening in these primary elections. Me, I don't entirely blame them like my brother Bruce. Sometimes they have no choice. I've given examples of where people have parked cars and told them, please, mutembe motoka muze kutera karuru, whether you like it or not. So what do these people do? Kashwanga chiboke kudia chibunu. We have seen cases where people have been shot at in different parts of Uganda, not because they wanted to support much more than any other person. You're blocking their way. So sometimes people don't. And there are not elites that contribute to this largely because Council Moses, you want to come as an independent candidate. Chikumanyisa ngutoku utoru wa NRM ninga toka baga wa NRM. Nyowe mwenyini wajangwiwa na council kunima mtaku za primaries. I cannot waste my time doing that. Not because I cannot lead people konka, it's a waste of time. Banyaji abataka kuza kujanka independence. It is these mafias in NRM. Abakuza kujera na bajango kumutamhajira tuwa M7, tuwa manifesto ya M7 abako bajanka independent. I mean, what does it mean? We have better people. We've seen cases, for example, in Itsuru. Bakaza hoba haflago muntu oba ajire, but people knew who they wanted. Even with the exactly, we've seen such cases. So these so-called literates actually ababa nyino honko kanso ya gambo nibo bakumisleading abantu abako they take advantage of them. They can be intimidated kandi babasa kubahereza otusente tuche babatoze direction ibakwenda. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sifa. I have a message here, a gentleman called Atwine Ima, who is saying thank you for the show, but according to what was on ground, for example, in my constituency in Rohama, in Tungamo, was different. Honorable Mbabazi Advan had money, but people refused him. So for your guests, Sisi in particular, she should know, I think Sifa, she should know that in some areas money doesn't buy votes. Secondly, Tanga may not be the problem voting. Tanga had slept in Tungamo to make the right. Well, I have not. Let me hear from you in a second, all of you, just a parting.
The person who sent in a message,
yes.
I'm very sure, and I know that very well, that in some cases money doesn't work. We've seen cases of this Honorable Mijuchi. People call from Buwezu and they tell you people have their money, even if we eat it, we cannot vote them, we want so and so. Okay. So in some cases, yes, money doesn't work. But when it comes to money, okay. There are very few people who cannot be intimidated using money.
Yes, you're parting short in just a statement.
Yeah, I want us to appreciate the fact that Uganda is getting richer, it's not getting poorer. And that we have been having elections since 1962. Why is it that we are getting richer as a population, but we are getting fake leaders election after election? So the problem partly is the voter. Why was it easy in 1990s to elect members of parliament who could deliberate in parliament? Yet people were poorer, sleeping in grass-thatched houses, suffering from jiggers and rice in the head, in their hair, and they could elect good leaders. But these ones who are not victims of what I have mentioned are failing to elect good leaders.
Thank you.
The voter is a part of the problem.
In a second.
My second can be utilized like this. I think we still have a long way to go. We need to be truthful to ourselves. We need to be open-minded. Tugambira abantu abamazima gabahindura obusinge. Abatezi bakaruru, yes, they have a role to play, but our leaders are the lanterns of the development and transformation. Let them maintain quality control. Now that President Museveni introduced UPE, every village has at least someone who can read, write, and even speak English. let us have minimum qualifications.
Okay.
Period.
Bruce,
For me, Wesige,
speak to the microphone.
Banyaja, I think we should take collective responsibility at every layer, all stakeholders, whether you are a voter, you are a polling official, you are a Tangodo, you are the party chairman, all of us must take the blame and be responsible for having fair elections.
Okay.
And you see, even when we have a sea of incompetent leaders, we also have some good leaders.
Okay. Thank you. Sifa, do you have anything just in a second?
Yes, in a second. The problem we have in NRM is bigger than what the voters can fix. It is largely a problem of leaders. That is why we have some fake registrars, because we have seen some cases where issues of chaos have emerged out of the actions of the registrars. How do we come to them? How do we appoint them? What is the criteria? We know of registrars who have been appointed because they have shared the same bed with people responsible. You have seen people being announced, declared winners because they have shared something with people who are declaring. So for me, the problem is not entirely with voters. The bed. Okay. Because someone has laid you have to be the winner.
Let's meet next Saturday on the big set. My name is Wesley Governor. We have news at the top of the hour. Thank you so much, Honoratu Muhangu, Zisi Fasafi, Bruce Wakunda, and Council Moses Nwagaba. And all the listeners and contributors of the show, you're the reason we keep doing this. God bless you. We are out.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of this radio station or its management.
This radio is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission, UCC.